Hello, all, and welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. I hope you guys are having a great week. It's Wednesday, higgity higgity hump day. This guy at my job always says that, and it just always makes me laugh. So he kind of sounds like the camel from the commercial. Remember that? Hump day. Whoop, 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 whoop. Anyways, for my goofy nonsense, today I'm going to talk about the great and crazy concept that is going on out there in regards to retirement. So more and more Americans are not able to retire, and they're not able to retire because they're not saving money and they're not investing their money. And this is over an article that I read on CareerBuilders.com a couple of days ago, talking about there used to be a time when Americans were able to retire at age 50 and age 60, and supposedly the number nowadays is age 70, but it's even getting to the point where people cannot retire until they're 75, and in some worst cases 80, and the worst cases even after that, they're never able to retire because they don't have the right amount of money, or the amount of debt that they've accrued over their lifetime is just uncontrollable, or they're having to take care of other people's children, their parents. I mean, the list can go on, and it's just like, after reading this article, it just kind of made me grateful for the life that I have and the mission that I have and the education that I'm trying to obtain when it comes to financial intelligence, and the people that I surround myself with on a regular basis that have the same mindset and who have achieved the things that I want to achieve, and the people that want to achieve the things that I want to achieve at the same time. So it makes me very thankful, and it humbles me after reading this article and articles like this. But as I get into this, it's like it just blew my mind, and I will be reading from the article. So it says in the article that the economy may be improving, but try telling that to 40% of American workers. 40%. Crazy, right? While they don't feel like they can retire until the age 70 or older. And the crazy thing is, it says in the article that 57% of men are putting off retirement, and 48% of working women are putting off retirement at the same time. And, it's like you have to put it in perspective. Why is there such a high number of people, ironically, with more men, but how many, all these people that are having to put off retirement because they lack the financial resources? They lack the money. And then a lot of things that puzzled me about this article is that a lot of people don't even realize how much money that they need in order for them to retire. And that's even, to me, that was just the even crazier thing, because it's like, okay, not even one, not knowing how much money you need in order for you to retire, how much money you need to live off of a yearly basis, and two, not even having the right income, even if you do know that amount of money. So it's just those two factors in there. And then it's so, because I use my area that I live in, the Northern Virginia, Washington D.C., Maryland, the DMV area. Um, the average incomes here ranges from 80,000 to the lowest to the highest 250,000. I keep it in that range, and that's because you got a lot of high paid federal employees here, government contractors here, small and big business owners here. The list goes on and on. Retired military. All you have all those contributing factors to this DMV area. So your average for a decent single family house in this area ranges probably within the late 2000s, 200,000s to early to mid 300,000s and up for a decent house in a decent neighborhood within this area. So you have that, and so people, they're making all these great salaries, but then you still have a lot of people here that end up dying because they can't retire. Even if they do have a nice little government pension, they still can't retire. They don't have enough money to retire, and a lot of times it's because they have the $400,000, $500,000 house with the huge mortgage. They end up having nice cars. Nothing wrong with this stuff that I'm saying. That costs between at least $30,000, and I've even met people that have $100,000 cars, and the first thing I asked them, well, do you got $100,000 business? No, of course not. Why am I even asking that crazy question? I mean, if I have $100,000 anything that's not a house, it better be making some sort of money off of it on a, if not a weekly basis, a yearly basis at least. But that's just my personal opinion. Your money's your money. Do what you want to do with your own money. So, but a lot of times those are very big contributing factors for the reason why a lot of people cannot retire in this area. or if they do, of course, they have to move to a very small town, whether it could be in Mississippi, or it could be a small town in Midwest in Illinois or Indiana, where the economy is crap, so the cost of living is so low because there's no real economy there, and then people have the luxury of being able to live off of their little small pension because they moved to those areas. So, but it's just having the huge amounts of bad debt. You hear this all the time. Bad debt, and there's good debt. Good debt is a house and a business. Bad debt is student loan debt, car payment debt, credit card debt. It's just, and my generation, the millennial generation, is literally the first generation in U.S. history. And please do your research on this. Don't take my word for it. First generation in U.S. history that's expected to die in mountains and mountains of debt. And it just boggles my mind. It's like, because it's not being talked about enough, and everybody seems to be okay with it. They're not worried about it. It's like, hey, I'm just going to die in all this mountains of debt. And a lot of it is just because they lack financial intelligence. I say it again, they lack financial intelligence. And it's just, it's insane, But to get back to the article, because I'm going to get off my rant, in the article there says, why is there a delay? And the article speaks about, outside of what I've just stated earlier, some workers, they simply just don't have the right knowledge. They haven't done an assessment of what it's going to take for them to retire. 24% of them don't even know how much they need to save, just to save. Let's not talk about the investment. Let's just talk about the saving, the old principles of just saving money. They don't even know. And it's like I said, you're the CEO of your own life. You got to do your own assessment when it comes to anything, whether you're married, you got kids, you got a car, you got a house. If you got to get some work done on your car, you do an assessment on that. You got to get some work done on your house. Your kids need braces, dental appointment, or whatever have you. You know these things. We live in the information age. Google it. It is your friend, and the data, and it's just, the data just boggled my mind. It's like I said, because another thing the article said is that, the typical advice that financial professionals, which I am not, so do not take the advice from me, hear what I say and do your own research, please. I'm not a financial professional. I just do my own assessments and make my own life choice decisions upon those assessments, especially from the experts. The typical advice that you should aim to get to replace your income is to be 70 to 90% of your annual pre-retirement income through savings and Social Security. That's just the basics right there. Because who the heck knows if Social Security is going to be around? But if it is, obviously you're not going to have enough of it to live off of. So you need other streams of income to live off of. And because this video is mainly just for the people who want to work a job, and that's it, work a job and retire and live the normal lifestyle. This is what this video is. This is not for the people that like to think outside the box, work a job, have a business, have a side hustle, make major investments and go from there. This video is not for them. A great example, it's like for a retiree who earns let's just say for instance, $63,000 per year, for retirement should expect to need to live off of $44,000 to $57,000 per year in retirement. So you do the assessment on that one. The data actually says too that you will need to save up at least 10% of your income. So save up 10% of your income, and then put another 10% in investments. So you got 100% of your income. You need to do two specific things with 20% of that income, which leaves you with 80% for you to obviously live off of. And if you can't live off of 80% of your income, do a reevaluation of your lifestyle. Try to get a better paying job. That's always easier said than done. It's easier to get a side hustle than it is to get a better paying job. So I would suggest doing that. Get a side hustle. If you make an excuse for that, then obviously you don't want to do better. I always say that. You make an excuse for something, obviously you don't want to do better. Because there's money in 2018, there's money to be made out here. And I'm tired of hearing about people saying I can't do. No, you don't want to. Just be an adult and say I don't want to. And then I'll respect you a lot more later. There's a lot of things in life I don't want to do. Therefore, I don't do it. But when I want to do something, if I can't do it, I find a way. I don't say I can't. I say I cannot right now, but I will find a way. And I feel that anybody that wants to do anything in this life, they will do it. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but they will find a way if they really have the will and the know-how to get it done. They even go up to their ears in debt to get it done. You see people all the time with these overpriced vehicles and these overpriced houses in the DMV. They find a way to get this stuff, knowing darn well that they're house poor and car poor. But that's another discussion for another day. Anyways, back to the subject matter at hand. So most people, are supposed to retire at age 70. The life expectancy is supposed to be up to age 85. But the research continuously shows that more and more Americans are working till even age 75. 75. And that's the sad thing, because I'm sorry, when I'm 75, I plan to be living in the beautiful mountainous areas of Las Vegas, Nevada, looking at the palm trees in the desert, sipping on my rum and coke and enjoying life, And if I am working, I'm working for myself, or I'm maybe working a little side job or something like that, but I'm not getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning like I do now to get up and go to work and handle business. I'm going to enjoy life and be on my way, walking the dogs, looking at the beautiful sun, getting in the house before it reaches 120 degrees. That's the lifestyle I'm looking forward to if I live up to be in my 70s. We'll see what happens. But anyways, and then a lot of things, it's like, okay, I know in a lot of cultures, it's normal for people to take care of their parents. I think that's great, but I don't think anybody, if they can help it, because there's always those special cases, should become a financial burden on their children. I just think it's wrong when it could be prevented. That's the thing, when it could be prevented. But because of a lack of will, know-how, intelligence, and a big implementation of laziness, and let's just do the standardized nonsense that doesn't work anymore, but we're just going to continuously do it because that's what we were taught. You got to be willing to think outside your box, and I should be there. You took care of your kids, great, and they should have to take care of you if medically something happens to you, but financially, they should not be burdened with that. There's too much money to be made. There's too many investments to be made out here. Look at it like this. Even when the economy went to crap in 2007, people were still making money. That's the beauty of the United States. Even when the economy goes boop, people still find ways to make money and survive. So you have to have that saver's mentality. You have to have that investor's mentality. Because here's the crazy thing, and I'm going to make a video about this on a later day. The economy will tank again. Does not matter who the president is. Does not matter who has the Congress, your governor, your mayor, senator, whatever. The economy will crash again because it always ends up crashing. Okay? Things go up and things go down. That's just the way life goes. So if life works like that, then why shouldn't the economy work like that? That's just my personal opinion. Do your own research on it. We go through crashes all the time. The crazy thing is, not only if you're even ready for retirement, are you even ready financially for the next crash? Think about it. If you lost your job today, what would you do? And if you have something to say, please put it in the comments section, because it's real. This can happen, not just because of automation or because of job going overseas, but what if the economy tanked today? Depending on the industry that you're in, what would you do? It's something to think about. It's food for thought. And the article definitely talked about you have a lot more of Americans because, one, either they can't have the lifestyle that they want, or two, they just can't simply afford to. They're not retiring in the United States anymore because they're going to countries where the American dollar holds a lot more power than it does in its own country. So they're going to places like mainly Central America, Mexico, Panama, Belize, and Costa Rica. A lot of Americans are retiring there. A good population of Americans are starting to grow there. They're able to go there and buy houses, cash money, and if they do have to pay taxes, when in a lot of cases they don't, it doesn't compare to paying taxes within the United States of America. Cost of living. A lot of people can't even afford to retire in Louisiana and Mississippi, because one thing that every state in the United States has in common, doesn't matter who's in the power of the government, cost of living is going to be high either way. You might have a lower rent, or the cost of a house might be much lower compared to New York City, DC, California, and whatnot. But the prices of food and the prices of utility are still going to go up. Why? Because it's that crazy thing that happens in the capitalist society. People want to make money and they want to increase their profit margins. Is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. I'm just saying it's food for thought. So unless you're going to retire in those states with no mortgage and not having to pay rent, it's something to think about, because that will still eat away at your retirement. It will. It just will. And another great example is if you're making a salary in my area, this is just typical. You're making $100,000 a year, $150,000 a year. You will be expected to have at least 70 to $75,000 a year. That's what you're gonna need to live off of when you retire. And then the last but not least with this article, which I found to be very scary and troubling, you know, a lot of Americans are still in their 50s working like they're in their 20s and 30s. That means they don't have the right savings. They're not participating in the 401ks and the IRAs or IRA. They're not buying stocks. They're not buying bonds. They're not getting any assets whatsoever. Pretty scary in my personal opinion. And the moral of the story is this: if you're working in your 70s like you were working in your 20s, I have no idea what to say. If you're still barely getting by and just have enough to keep your bank account open, or don't even have a bank account at all because you're just getting by in order for you to pay bills, it's pretty scary. This is not about being a baller and flashing and all the other crap that just makes other people rich when they sell you their products. This is about being financially intelligent and being financially safe. Outside of that, if you can't try to get on with that program, then I don't know what to say. Thanks for listening, all. Welcome to the new people to Larry's Anything Goes page. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my website and please subscribe to my YouTube page. I greatly appreciate it. I will be updating my website because I just basically established it like 2 weeks ago. I will be updating my actual website with any products that you guys might want to purchase from Amazon. I'll see, and if you guys want anything from Amazon, let me know. As an affiliate, I can get you guys probably something a little bit of a better deal. And if not, hey, I understand. But please subscribe and please check out my website. I will be promoting products this weekend for my favorite books, and if you want to check them out, go for it. If not, after that, have a nice day, and if I don't hear from you guys, have a great weekend.